Well, thank you for joining me on my Enrollment Catalyst live show. So grateful for the opportunity to be back with you. So as you're joining in, feel free to identify what school and location you're from. We definitely want to see who's in the audience today. So look forward to engaging with you. We have a great show, just like we've had in all of our other live shows along the way. So if you missed out on those, you can find those on my Facebook page. And you can also find them on my YouTube channel. So I have all of those posted. One of the beautiful things about broadcasting live is that you can download the recordings and you can put those on your YouTube channel. You can share those on your website and in other pieces along the way. So Wendy, it's great to have you from JDS in Bellevue, Washington. You win the award for being the first one to show up today on the live show. So grateful that you can join us. You're probably enjoying your cup of coffee this morning at 9 a.m. out there on the West Coast. So again, as you join in, tell us where you're located, and we'll look forward to seeing a great audience here today on the live show. And we have another one coming up on Wednesday at 3 o'clock Eastern Time. And the team from Ben Lippen School in Columbia, South Carolina will be joining us, and we'll be focusing in on really a case study of their enrollment and marketing strategies and what's been working for their school. Laura is joining us from Maryville Christian School in Maryville, Tennessee. It's great to have you. And of course, my mom and dad are watching. So I can always count on my mom and dad tuning in to watch from Nashville, Tennessee. So grateful that you guys are here and following me. You know, I can always count on if I put out a post on my Facebook page that my mom's going to be the first one to like it. So that's a great thing when you have parents who are your fans along the way. So appreciate you guys. Ella's joining in from Piscataway at Trinity Christian. Not Trinity. Why did I say Trinity? It's Timothy Christian. I saw the T and it threw me off. And so grateful for the opportunity that you're here and part of this show. And Susan's joining in, and grateful for you being here, Susan, from Linfield Christian out in Temecula, California. So yeah, that would be a good idea, Susan, that I should interview. I should interview my parents on one of these shows in the future. So that would be great. I don't know if we could get all the technology to work right. So sometimes we had challenges along the way. So you'll notice I have a little widget in the upper left-hand corner, 51 days of quarantine. So we've all been secluded, isolated to our homes. And I found this little widget that's part of this program that I could display this. So very interesting. Liz is joining us from Santa Fe Christian. Great to have you, Liz. And Lisa's here. And Vicky's here from Santa Fe Christian. Vicky was a guest on last Wednesday's show. And if you missed last Wednesday's show, we had a great conversation about ambassadors and word-of-mouth marketing. And Vicky has a tremendous program that she has in place out at Santa Fe Christian with using parents as ambassadors. And it works really, really well. So grateful that you all could be here and that you're tuning in today. So again, just identify the school that you're located from, and we'll look forward to acknowledging you on the air today during the live show. And in just a moment, I'm going to introduce our guest for the day. And so we have a great team. One of the things that I decided to focus in on this week is to really showcase some case studies of schools that I have worked with or am working with. And because one of the things I have the privilege of doing is traveling all over, and I'm able to see firsthand how school teams are implementing their enrollment and marketing strategies. And back in late January, when I could still travel, and I was traveling like crazy, I had the opportunity to spend 2 days at the Brook Hill School in Bullard, Texas. Bullard is a couple hours to the east or so of Dallas. Just south of Tyler, kind of out in the middle of nowhere. And had a great opportunity to spend 2 days on campus, meeting with the team and conducting focus group meetings. And it was a great privilege and opportunity just to see the great things that they're doing. And we're going to be talking about that but several others are joining in. Melissa's here from St. Augustine High School in New Orleans. Rebecca's here from Ben Lippen, and she'll be joining us on Wednesday during the live show. Lisa's here from Exceed Prep in the Miami area. Lisa's here from Mission Hills Christian out in Rancho Santa Margarita, California. Janice is here from Peachtree Academy. Jennifer is from Westminster Catawba Christian. Great to have you, Jen, working with Jen and the team there. Sandy's here. Great to have you, Sandy, from Florence Christian, another school that I've had the opportunity to work with. Elizabeth from Boca Christian down in South Florida. And Lisa's here from White Oak, Texas, which is close to Tyler. I'd have to look at that on the map. And then Kelly's here from Ben Lippen, and she will be a guest on the Wednesday show. So without any further ado, I want to introduce to you the guests that we have lined up for today. And we're going to start with Jamie. And Jamie is the Director of Admissions for the day school program. Hi, Jamie.
Hi, Rick. How are you?
I'm doing well. Everything going well with your technology?
Fingers crossed. We're going to do good.
Exactly. We'll do fine. So, Jamie, how long have you been at the Brook Hill School?
I'm in my 5th year there. Started as a parent. As you know from meeting me there, I have 3 kids, one in high school, one in middle school, and one in lower school this year. And started volunteering and then started working in admissions and have then become the Director of Admissions just this year, really. So it's home for me, really, for my family. We live, work, play, all at the Brook Hill School.
Yeah, that's great. Except now you're confined to your home and you can't get out.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly. Great. Thanks for joining us, Jamie. Let me introduce you to our second guest, and that's Travis. Travis is our Director of Marketing Communications, and he also heads up the boarding admissions. Great to have you, Travis.
Thanks so much for having me here.
And Travis, how long have you been at the Brook Hill School?
Yeah, so this is my 8th year. I'm wrapping it up right now, which is exciting. And I just now became a parent for the first time this year. Oh. So my son is now in pre-K, and so that's been a lot of fun this year. And then my daughter will be joining hopefully in, I guess, 1 more year. So excellent.
So you get to see it at the very beginning stages with your kids. I hear them maybe in the background, in fact.
Yes. You can
kids, right. Hey, we're dealing with reality. Yeah, this is the reality of these video shoots from home. So
working from home. So
exactly. Exactly. And let me introduce to you our third guest, Laurie. Laurie is the Director of Advancement, and grateful for the opportunity for you to be here, Laurie. How long have you been at the Brook Hill School, Laurie?
Well, I am just finishing up my 14th year at Brook Hill. So to say that it's part of my blood and that I bleed orange is pretty true, pretty accurate. We have 3 kids that all graduated from Brook Hill. So I'm an alumni mom and, just all in, all orange. We say we're all orange. So.
Yeah, that's one thing that's really cool about your school, because it seems like every school I go to, they're blue and gold or some type of variation. And you guys have blue in your colors, but still, Brook Hill, you really own the color orange. And that really stands out in the marketing efforts. So, which
can be kind of hard at first because you got to go buy all these orange clothes, which no woman buys orange clothes to start with.
That's true. Well, I guess I wouldn't know. I mean, I thought about wearing an orange shirt today. I should have pulled it out of the closet. So
yeah, you should have.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you all for joining us, and so grateful that all of you can be here. I would love to just hear a little bit more about Brook Hill. You know, you have a recent history as a school. So tell us the story of your school and how you've grown over the last several years.
Well, Brook Hill started in the heart of our founder, who is still very, very involved at Brook Hill. He's a teacher. He's the chairman of our board of directors. But the Lord really just gave him a vision in the early 90s. He was leading an accountability group with some high school boys in his Sunday school class, and they were just basically talking about, where does the Lord want me to go? And he was leading them and helping them, pray about their future. And he just kept feeling like the Lord was laying on his heart that he should start a Christian college prep school. And he was like, Lord, this can't be me, because he was an attorney, single, no children, had never been in education. But, God just kept, pressing into him, and thankfully he listened. And so that was in the early 90s. We opened our doors in September of 97 with 31 students, grades 6, 7, and 8. And one of the things that I think is really unique about Brook Hill and the way we started is we didn't just start out with some portables and let's see what happens. Our founder was really, really committed to excellence and built a gorgeous, large building with a gym with columns in the front, red brick, and really, really stepped out in faith. And we were many times in the early years, rumors were all around Tyler that we were shutting the doors down. Every beginning of every school year, Brook Hill's not going to make it. But, the Lord had different plans, and he really, really uses our school as a tool for his kingdom. And so we're really blessed for that.
That's awesome. Yeah, just to see the campus. I mean, I see a lot of school campuses across the country, and, it's very impressive. I think you guys have, 260 some odd acres, and it's beautiful, and your buildings are beautiful, and really been blessed with what you've been able to accomplish there in 23 years. That's pretty amazing in terms of a story. So anything else, Travis or Jamie, you guys want to share? I'm sorry, I cut you off, Laurie.
I was just going to say we have 680 students now. So from 31 to 680, in 23 years, I feel like is, pretty impressive.
Yeah. And that's pre-K through 12th grade. And we also, one unique thing about us that is a little different is that we also have a boarding program. And so we actually have students in grades 8 through 12 can choose to be a boarding student or a day student. And so we have about 120 students who live on campus, and they come from over 30 different countries. So it's a really unique aspect to our school that you don't always find.
And the really cool thing about that was I was just going to say the really cool thing about that was that was part of the vision. And so it's really nice to see that vision play out from start. It wasn't like we just decided one year to start a boarding program for this or that. It was really part of the original vision and mission that we all get to see basically coming to fruition, which is really neat.
Yeah, and you guys get to be part of that vision moving forward as you continue to grow and develop. And tell us a little bit about your staff structure. So, roughly a school of almost 700 students. How about you guys have a pretty impressive team, at least from my perspective as I work with you all. But Jamie and Travis, tell us a little bit about your departments and what you oversee there at Brook Hill.
I'll let Laurie start since she oversees both of us.
All right, sounds good.
Well, we do have our structure is we have an advancement team, and so I'm the advancement director, and under the umbrella of the advancement team, we have admissions, marketing, communications, alumni and family relations, and development. So all of those things are kind of under that umbrella. We call ourselves the A team, and I think you're right, Rick, when you say we have a pretty impressive team. So Travis acts as our director of marketing and communications and boarding admissions. And he's been doing that for quite a while, and he's really, really good at it. And then Jamie has been in the admissions office for a while, but just took on the day admissions role. And then under them, they also have support staff and associate directors that support them and help them. So y'all want to tell a little bit about, do you want to hear more about their structure?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So in the boarding admissions and marketing communications office, I have an associate for boarding, and then I also have 2 marketing and communications associates, and then Jamie and I share an admin assistant who helps out with basically supplemental documents, processing applications, all of those kinds of things. And then I'll let Jamie go now.
Yeah. And then for the day admissions side, I have an admissions associate, Mallory Sims. She's amazing. And so, and then like Travis said, we share Mrs. Beckman, who is our admin assistant to both offices. And obviously the whole school shares our marketing and communications team, and they're phenomenal too.
Yeah, that's great. Again, I was very impressed with the team and the amount of work that you guys are able to accomplish there at the Brook Hill School. It's a very sophisticated approach, and so that was impressive to me. And also to see a school that's been growing, over time. A lot of times schools call me when they're declining and they need help, but you guys, worked with me really from a position of strength, that I could, be able to look at all that you're doing and to provide some additional guidance and direction. So how do your teams, your departments, admissions and marketing, work together, in this advancement model? Do you guys have like regular meetings? When do those conversations take place? Are you yelling across the hallway, or how's that working?
Yeah, yeah. Well, we do a lot of different things, but I think at the heart of it is collaboration and partnership. So we have regular meetings with day admissions. We collaborate with them on their events, promoting their events, and also just in general for us, as a marketing team, right? Student recruitment and lead generation is at the top of our mind as well. And so, I think sometimes a marketing communications office, they are maybe more focused on just having, let's just make sure our website looks nice. Let's make sure we're serving other departments of the school. And it's more communications focused, but they still call it marketing, but at our school, it's the marketing and communications office. And so we do all that. We do all the communicating. We do all the making sure things look pretty. But also at the top of our mind is, how are we going to generate leads for the admissions office to follow up with? How are we going to focus on the top of that funnel and help admissions bring people all the way through enrollment, right? And so that's a big part of us. And so it's a mindset, and it's a partnership, and it's a collaboration. And Jamie, do you have anything you'd like to add there?
Well, and I just think too that it is, I think we talk a lot in our office about when we're collaborating, really everything they're doing from a communication standpoint should also be marketing. So what can we do in telling just the story of Brook Hill and what's happening at Brook Hill, and make sure, our prospective families also, kind of dive into part of that story, and vice versa. Any marketing effort, we talk about remarketing a lot from a retention standpoint. And so any marketing effort that, I think our team takes on, they also, top of their mind is marketing that back to our families again. So it's really this very circular kind of thing. And then lastly, I think one of the things that they're really successful at and that I appreciate is, they train us to do things too. So it's not just them who has to do them. And, on the advancement team, what I'm really thankful for is that we are all, if it's development season and it's Founders Day, marketing, admissions are all on board to help make sure that gets executed well, and then vice versa. Our special events coordinator is helping me call families right now. I mean, it really is a true team.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I observed when I was there is that team approach really starts at the top. I mean, Rod's not here, but Roger had a school, and he bleeds marketing. I mean, I've seen lots of heads of school along the way. And, one of the things that he's always thinking about is marketing, always coming up with ideas. So just any insight on the value of having a head of school so interested and involved in enrollment and marketing?
Yeah, I would definitely say it's been really helpful. I think because when you have those conversations, your head of school knows that this is important, right? And so at the end of the day, students generate revenue, which helps the school be successful. And so, at the heart of every great school is a great admissions and marketing team, because you have to, especially in our market, it's a very competitive market. For us, our location is very out of the way, right? So we're not close to the money. We're a 20-minute drive from the money in Tyler. And while we are in Bullard and there are families who can afford private school tuition, it's a smaller population. There's only about 2,000 people that actually live in Bullard. And so because of that, I think we've had a lot of challenges to overcome. And so marketing and admissions has always been something that is vital, I think, to the overall growth and success of our school. And Laura, I think you were about to say something.
Well, I was just going to say I've never worked with any other head besides Rod, so I don't know what it's like to work with a head that doesn't bleed marketing, and I'm sure it can be really, frustrating. But one of the things I've learned from Rod is because he is so focused on marketing, he has a lot of really great ideas, and if you have a head that maybe isn't as into marketing and isn't screaming from the rooftops, all day long, which is what ours is doing. But a lot of times the leadership in your school does have a lot of really great ideas, and they're just sort of bent that way. So I would just try to pick their brain, because I'm really thankful for a head that sometimes we get exhausted by it, to be honest with you. but
hopefully he's not listening. I don't know.
It's okay. I'll tell him.
He'll listen.
But anyway, but sometimes, it can get tiring. But when I think about the fact of if he wasn't doing that, he's really very valuable and gives us a lot of valuable ideas. So if you don't have a head that's all into it, I would still try to pick their brain.
And I would say, too, the nice thing about that is you want your head to be on your team. And we're trying to all live out and accelerate this mission and this vision. And I am thankful, as much as sometimes it can, he's very driven, and really not just in marketing. If you know Rod Fletcher, he's driven really in all areas, which is great. But it also drives us. I think all three of us would say that because he's driven, so are we. We're probably naturally driven people too, but we're always trying to think of the next thing, because we know he is, and we want to be there with him in that next step. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and that's always an indication of a strong school when you have strong leadership. They're driving the vision and future of the school. They're not willing to settle. And Rod that's his gift. He's always looking forward into the future and trying to push ahead. And, I love what you just said, Jamie, how you're always working to try to, figure out to maybe even be one step ahead of him along the way. So, yeah. So we have some other guests who are joining us. So Megan's here from Ware Academy in Virginia, and Karen's from Notre Dame in Fairfield, Connecticut. Adam, it's great to have you from Legacy Christian. And Barbara's here from the King's Christian Academy in Callaway, Maryland. And Julie's joining us from Lafayette Catholic School. Great to have you, Julie. And Jennifer's here from Highlands Christian Academy in Pompano Beach, Florida, the other side of my state. It's not like it's my state, but it's a state I live in. And then Christy's here from the First Academy in Orlando. And Christy had the opportunity to work with last fall with their team. So as we continue to talk about the Brook Hill School, from your perspective, what are some of the most important or maybe most effective admission strategies that you guys have in place that you would want to share with the viewers today? Sure.
I think Travis and I can both tag team this, and especially from, a lot of it is the same. And I'm actually going to throw the gauntlet to him really quick, because I think one of our most important admission strategies really is website and our digital presence. So I'm going to let him share from that, standpoint, and then we can talk about some more. But
yeah, definitely. I think for us, you're kind of going back to what we talked about earlier about how admissions and marketing partner and work together. Lead generation is always at the top of our minds. We want to have a great top of the funnel for our admissions team to follow up with. And so for us, a lot of that comes down to our website. Our website is not geared towards current families, right? It's geared towards prospective families. If you look at the data, about 55 to 60% of the people who visit our website every month are new to our website. It's the first time that they've come. And so it's very important that the first thing that you see is for prospective families, not for current families. And so definitely you want it to be usable to current families and all of that, but that's where the funnel starts, right? And so that's a a big part of it for us. And then I think on top of that, and we can dive into this a little bit more later with our inbound strategies and marketing strategies that we'll talk about in a bit. But for us, it's also just that advertising, right? Making sure that when they're looking for us on Google, when they're on social media, these different digital advertising platforms, whether it be database sites like Boarding School Review or greatschools.org or niche.com, right? We want to make sure that we have positive reviews. We want to make sure that we have accurate data, and that we are always pushing people back to our website where they can fill out a form. There's an easy call to action, and we can get in touch with them.
Yeah, if you haven't checked out their website, I just echo what Travis just said. You should take a look at brookhill.org, and it's a great website. It is marketing focused. And go ahead, Jamie. Sorry to cut you off.
No, I was just going to say, I think that is, that was, if you want to talk about pivoting, one of the first things that I think we were focused on doing as an admissions team was kind of making sure, it's relevant and up to date and those things, which is, really been great for us. And also not just website, but our social media, which, we link from there, but our social media is a huge part of both communication and marketing. And so that we're always driving that strategy from a, get the funnel working type thing. And then from there, I think, and Travis, you can pop in, from a boarding perspective and a day perspective, but once we have that funnel, the second strategy is really just making sure that the contact is quick, it's responsive communication, and this, is we try to contact all inquiries within 24 hours, and so that sometimes on the weekends it might be one business day, but even then, Mallory and I will sometimes it comes on my phone, I'll send a quick email saying, hey, we'll catch you on Monday. Thank you so much for inquiring. It doesn't take much of my time, but it's a really great. And then for me personally in my office, we always, and that's one thing we're trying to really keep right now, pride ourselves on that really personal touch. And so I don't, I was just talking to Mallory yesterday and I said, we care about the numbers. The numbers are our goals. We have goals and we want enrollment numbers. That's our job. But we care about the people in our queue too. So it's both of those things and making sure that when somebody gets to us, when they talk to us, they feel cared for, they feel heard, we get their needs met, and we, can move them to really a face-to-face action is our biggest call. Right now that looks a little different, but a campus tour or something, that we can get them to. But
exactly.
Travis, you can add
I would add to that, I think another key admission strategy that we've had is just in regards to financial aid. That's a thing for us, where we want to make sure that that finances are not a barrier to admission to a school. Obviously, like, school does cost money. People just can't come and buy the droves for free. But I think it's one lever that we can pull. And I think that that's an area of our admissions process that we've really taken a unique approach to, and have been able to really make Brook Hill affordable and fill empty seats, through financial assistance.
And that's so important, because cost is the number one barrier choosing a private, independent, faith-based school. Whatever category you're in, people are going to look at the cost, and then either they're going to go away because it's not in their price range, or they're going to choose to maybe go a little bit further. So it's great that you're doing that and you're trying to reach families. Now, one of the things that you did earlier this year, back when we were on campus, when you were on campus, working, and you can invite guests in, and you had a special week that you called Peak Week. So talk to us about what Peak Week was all about, and how did that work? How did that come about?
Well, Peak Week was actually new for us this year in that terminology, but the idea of it is kind of like a third go round of some initiatives that we've tried to move in the past. We have these really great events that we've done. We've actually done a week in the past that we called Admissions Week. And then, for just different reasons, a couple of years we tried it over a month where we did like one event per week to give families more opportunities. But this year we decided to push it back. We really found that, we saw more interaction with those events in the week format. And so while it's a very exhausting week, we renamed it, kind of, re-energized it. Peak week rolls off the tongue. But basically, we designed an event every day of that week, actually over 8 days, starting with the grand opening of our baseball field where we hosted it. We tagged on an open house. And then we tried to design events that would give them peaks of the Brook Hill School. So some inside perspective, we did a night. We have a museum on campus that is one of our best assets and probably one of the hardest things for people to understand until you actually get them inside of it. So we did a night at the museum, again, play on words. I think peak week should always be really fun. We put our pre-KK preview day event that's been really successful in the past into that week. We did all school shadow experiences for first through 12th or rising 12th grade. And then we did a night of innovation, and those kind of capped up in we have these really great innovation labs that we've opened on both campuses. And so it was a really fun, kind of night where people could explore those spaces. And then we did the really exciting part that we did this week that has played out really well in COVID-19 is we did a digital day. So we basically pre-filmed this really cool student-led tour, MTV Cribs style, if any of you are MTV Crib viewers from back in the day. But and it is, and then we previewed it as a Facebook Live where we interacted with families and they could just catch it on a lunch break to check out more about Brook Hill. And Travis can kind of talk about how we really promoted that, but we actually doubled our attendance. So we've had several of those events throughout the years at different times. But we actually doubled our attendance to all of the events this year. So it was really successful.
Yeah. One of the advantages, I think, to having everything in a week is it actually streamlined our promotion of the events. And so we were able to have one landing page with a graphic and brief description and registration link for every event. And then we could promote peak week just in general. And so we weren't having to promote a bunch of different events throughout the month or throughout the semester or the school year. We were able to focus a lot of effort on that whole week. And then from there, we used Eventbrite. You can use lots of different things. We used Eventbrite. You're able to actually tie in social media, Google Analytics and social media advertising to that, so that when someone creates a registration, you get a notification, right, that you generated a lead, through that advertising platform. And so that was really great for us. We had some great ads, some great ways that we pushed people, lots of different groups that we targeted to, and eventually had about 50 registrations come through our advertising efforts for peak week, which was a really great return on our investment. So it worked out.
I really like that idea, when I was there and you guys were promoting it at the time. So it's really cool to have all these different events, and they're attracting different segments of the population who might be attracted to a grand opening of a baseball field versus a night at the museum versus the innovation lab, because you've all got different areas you're targeting with interest.
And one more thing I want to say about that is it was for prospective families, but we included our families as part of it. So it was reminding our families why they love us, and then allowing them to interact with prospective families and prospective families to interact with them. So I would encourage schools, if you're implementing something like this, make sure you include your current families in each one of the events, because it really helps kind of bridge that, the gap between the two. And
I like that. I like that you brought that up, because I was going to say in someone else looking through that, I think the strategy behind it is we do a bring a friend. We call a couple of them Night at the Museum and Innovation Lab, especially our invite a friend events. And we did some promotion to our families. So if they invited a friend, they got, like a free dress or something, just to encourage this, kind of community feel. And that was great. But on the back side of that, For designing the events, I would say, the attendance of the events is really important to me because that's leads. But also, we always talk about, Travis and I, about how if you can plan a really great event, what do you want to market? Because it's free, it's marketing without you saying it's marketing, right? You're basically being able to do all of these things. And so maybe, Night of the Innovation, and we've had this happen at our events. In fact, I think it's kind of a trademark of a Brook Hill event where it just like a monsoon comes through. And so only 3 families show up, and that can be very deflating. But you have to remember that it actually drove a lot of leads in your way. You're getting to highlight this really great thing about your school. So I just wanted to tackle that, and anybody who's strategizing that of like, what can they get that's more than just a tour, more than just an open house? What's this really fun thing you can do?
And that's typically what I see in schools is just the traditional open houses. So that's why I really like the peak week. Go ahead, Laurie.
Well, I was just saying, and we had it right before re-enrollment time. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, it was a good reminder of people why they love us. So we're getting to come out at night and do really fun, really fun and cool experiences. So.
Yeah, and if you really like that idea, the peak week at the Brook Hill School, and think that maybe that could work at your school, click like, show your love, in this broadcast. We'd love to just see some of the support from you all during the show. So let's talk a little bit about marketing. We already talked about, the focus of it being on lead generation. And so as we think about some of your most effective marketing strategies, it does seem like it centers around inbound marketing. So Travis, can you give us a feel for some of the strategies you have in place?
Yeah, definitely. So, for us, a few different things, and some people's definitions of inbound marketing are kind of vary. I'm going to take a little bit broader approach, and you'll kind of see in just a second. But one thing that we do is we have downloadable content. So if someone's visiting our website for the first time, after they've been on it for a few seconds, there'll be a little pop-up that comes up that says download your guide to choosing the right school, right? And then if you enter your first name, last name, and email address, you get entered into a great little campaign through MailChimp. The first one, of course, is about why to like the Brook Hill School. And then there's a series of 2 other emails that you get after that. And then we'll take that email list and then we'll add them to our inquiry emails and different things like that, just to kind of keep staying in touch with those people throughout the process. We've recently added more downloadable content to our virtual admissions page. So now you can download our viewbook. So that's something you just enter your email. And again, you'll get 2 automated emails after that, after you've entered that information. And then we're working on more content, something for pre-KK, first grade, something for middle school, something for high school. And so we'll be working on those content pieces over this next month and hopefully have those wrapped up soon. And so, and then also there's one more piece that we have talked about creating about in regards to financial aid. So again, just trying to help people overcome those different roadblocks that they have. In addition to that, we've also, I've built a few different web pages specifically designed to help us with our searching. And so one of those is actually about Christian boarding schools. And so that's, if you're looking for a Christian boarding school, not only in addition to seeing our ad, but you also, if you're looking for a boarding school in Texas, it helps us show up and just be competitive with other online listings and different things like that. If you're looking for a private school in Tyler, we show up. It's very easy, right? But it's a little bit more competitive when you get into like boarding school world and things like that. So we've created some special pages to really help us stand out online. And after about 6 months of creating those pages, we start to get on the first or second page of Google and start getting more and more clicks. In addition to that, we focus a lot with online reviews and database sites. So it would be great schools or niche, trying to reach out to our families, get reviews. And so we have ongoing efforts to continue getting those, because again, it's another way that people can find you, right? They're already looking for a private school. They're already looking for these things. Well, they're landing on these database websites. We want to make sure that we're putting the best foot forward there. And then finally, we do a lot of search and remarketing ads. So, again, someone's searching for our school on Google or something like that. We do have search ads for a variety of topics for both day and boarding students. And then in addition to that, we also do a lot of remarketing ads. So once someone's visited our website, right, they've checked us out, we want to make sure that they continue to have our brand in front of them and that we're continuing to be top of mind, whether they're on the internet, reading articles, wherever they might be. Hopefully we've got a way to continue showing advertisements to them. So, yeah.
And one of the things that I've seen at the Brook Hill School is that you guys are all in with inbound marketing. And so it's dependent upon Travis and, your expertise and ability, which is great to have someone like you on the team that knows all about this and knows how to do it. If you can't, that's okay too, because then you can outsource certain elements of your strategy along the way. And I like the idea of what you brought up of having the downloadable view book, but asking for the email address before they can access that, because that gives Jamie a lead that now she can follow up with, which is what it's all about. So that's awesome. Exactly. Now, one of the other strategies you guys implemented, a couple months ago, is you moved from re-enrollment to continuous enrollment. So share with all of us about that decision to move away from re-enrollment, and then how did you implement that? How has it worked? Maybe you want to start with that, Jamie?
Yeah. It actually was we've been analyzing if continuous enrollment was the right fit for Brook Hill. And I do think that's, where every school should start in looking through all of the different angles and making sure with your school, your market, your constituents, that's going to work. But ultimately, we did decide that, we have a lot of people, really a majority of people who it would streamline this process for. So, reason one, from a customer service standpoint, which is what our team is charged to do, is to really streamline that for 90% of the population. And then once we made that decision, we really wanted to implement and overcome and get ahead of really any of the fears, any of the pushback. You can do anything in the world and it can be the best thing in the world, and you're still going to get pushback from someone out there. And so what would that be? What are those reasons? And so we spent a long time. We looked at it for last admission season, I think, right, Travis, too. And we decided we weren't quite ready yet. We wanted to, kind of feel it out and really get a game plan together for this next one. And then our strategy in continuous enrollment in the move of that was really communication, authenticity, being out front, and then just like really being, there for our families through and supporting this process. And we've seen a lot of great positives. I'm really excited about the full cycle. So for next year, when it goes into full, to real continuous enrollment, this year we've been rolling it out. So it was our last year, yay, final re-enrollment ever, kind of push and party. But it did move our timelines up, which in God's great providence has been really great for us in this new, season, because we had already kind of pushed some timelines and responses to the forefront, which I think is one of the biggest positives of continuous enrollment from an admissions perspective. So we're already seeing the benefits of it, I think. And y'all, Travis and Laurie, feel free to add in, what your overview was. But
yeah, I think for us, it's always been a consistent problem that we have families waiting until the summer to tell us if they're coming back or not, even though we have deadlines and fines and et cetera, et cetera. There's always this group that is just dragging their feet for one reason or another, whether it's accidental. And so our hope with continuous enrollment is that it will, eliminate a lot of that. And we've actually already seen, like what Jamie said, we've already seen that get pushed up for a lot of families who were typically waiting until the last minute to re-enroll have actually already done it. And so there's been a lot of positives from that regard. And, I think from a marketing communication standpoint, that it's a big communication piece. And so we created a whole web page for it. We created a great little video that just kind of introduced continuous enrollment to our families. And then created some postcards. Another thing that Jamie did is she had some seminars with families, some kind of Q&As. They got $50 towards their enrollment by attending, and then they were able to just kind of have an opportunity to ask questions and all that. So it was a great way to kind of dispel myths and, talk with families and kind of help them understand exactly what was going on. So again, I think we'll see the full fruit of this, in the coming years, and I'm excited for that. We definitely will have more communication work, ahead of us, especially during the first couple of years as our families get used to the new system.
Mm-hmm. And I want to make sure give the audience an opportunity to ask a question. So if you have a question you want to ask Jamie, Travis, or Laurie, feel free to enter that into your comment box underneath the broadcast on Facebook, and they'll be able to engage with your questions. But I'm glad that you guys moved to continuous enrollment. I mean, that's definitely the trend out there with schools. I mean, that always baffled me of why we ask families, are you coming back next year, and then have them go through a process. So that's reason enough to move away from it and put in place this continuous enrollment, because it changes the whole messaging of it, which I really appreciate. So how are you guys? Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say on that note, for anyone who's, I was probably the most resistant because I'm the one who deals with the outliers. I think, from an admissions and enrollment standpoint, you're worried about those people and you want to retain them. And so I really wanted to make sure. But I do think that even some of the fruit that I've seen is I just heard a quote, and it might have been on your live show, Rick. I can't remember, where we're not recruiting students, we're recruiting graduates. And that's a mindset that I really, our office is putting on, but that Mallory and I've been saying that all day long now. And that's kind of a continuous enrollment thing. We're asking you to commit to us. I mean, if something comes up along the way, we understand, but we're asking for this commitment through, and so it takes your families from this is just a year commitment to this is a long-term commitment that we're willing to make. So if you're thinking through that from a skeptic, I really like the mindset of continuous enrollment on this side of it.
Yeah, and there's a couple of questions coming in. Karen's asking, other than Niche and Great Schools, are there other similar marketing sites that you use for the reviews? And
yeah. So Private School Review is another one, and then we also, of course, try to get people to review us on Facebook. There are still some schools that have Google reviews enabled, but Google's in the process of removing reviews for schools, if you haven't heard that already. So right now we're no longer able to get new reviews, but our Google reviews still appear. But that is being phased out, in case you're wondering. And then in addition to that, as a boarding school, there's also a whole list of other sites that we're able to be on for boarding schools. So things like boardingschoolreview.com is the biggest. Of course, Niche still has us from a boarding school perspective. But then, of course, there's other random sites that, the list kind of goes on. There's probably like 20 of them,
Right. And then there's another question from Lonna. What CRM do you use to track potential families?
Yeah, I wish we had a better one.
Next year.
This is the biggest one on our side.
So we use RenWeb. It's a great student information system for our academic team here at the school. Of course, it is lacking in some things for admissions and marketing professionals. They're in the process of trying to improve a lot of things, which I've been grateful for. But for us, we've definitely been interested in looking at some other platforms like HubSpot, like School Admin. And so there's some things that we're looking into right now to try to do this better moving forward into the future.
Yeah, and a CRM is so important to, you want to make sure you have a tool that you can input your data, and then you can utilize it to your advantage in your enrollment and marketing efforts. So how are you guys adjusting your admissions and marketing strategies in light of this COVID-19 world that we're living in right now?
Yeah, definitely. So I'll start off and then pass it off to Jamie. So from a marketing communication standpoint, we've definitely changed our website. If you go to at the very top of it, you'll kind of see we've got our distance learning, COVID-19 resources, and prospective students. So from the get-go, we want people to know that we're still open, have those links to those different aspects. If you're interested in seeing what we're doing for distance learning as a prospective family, that's been really valuable, actually, is that you can actually go and see, hey, this is what we're doing. And it's out there in the open, and that's been really, I think, a positive thing for admissions. It's given people a lot of confidence as they're looking at schools. Of course, regularly updating with our all-school communications, putting links to them on our website. So in addition to the emails that families get, they can go access and see everything that we've said, including our parent surveys and different things like that. So, for us, a big thing has been making sure that our current families feel taken care of. And retention has been at the top of our mind during this season, right? And so we've implemented parent surveys. We've been sharing the results of those parent surveys with our families. And I think that's been really helpful. We've been following up with everyone who is dissatisfied with our distance learning program, trying to answer their questions, trying to make life better and easier for them during this time. And I think that that's paid dividends for us in terms of our families being excited and feeling taken care of. And then finally, for prospective families, we've changed our admissions page. We have little video intros from both Jamie and Mallory for the day admissions, with myself and Hillary for boarding admissions. We've added that downloadable content for our view book, and just had a few different ways for people to get in touch with us, still receive tours. Jamie and her team have created a great live tour that I'll let her talk about in a minute. We've also done that for boarding as well, so that we can get on a Zoom call and still show people our campus. We had some great videos made earlier this year. You go to our campus page, you can kind of see different aspects, different spaces on our campus. And we just finished up filming our lower school campuses. We hadn't done that yet. And so we'll be adding that this week to our digital tours, which has been really helpful and just a great way to continue connecting with our families. I'll kind of let from a communication standpoint as well. One thing that Rick really helped us and suggested for us while we were there is kind of shifting away from just reporting the news right at our school on our social media platforms to actually telling student stories and family stories. And so that's something that we've actually been able to. We were going to try to pivot this summer and do that. We've been able to move that timeline up. And so our marketing communications team, we had a great international week last week, and starting this week, we have a bunch of great stories from seniors that we'll be sharing throughout the week and throughout the month of May as well. And then we're going to be doing some teacher appreciation, have some stories about teachers. So we've just taken more of a story approach, gotten more alumni stories. And so lots of great content that our marketing communications team is putting together now and putting out there, things that people can connect with and all of that. So that's been a lot of fun and great to be able to kind of go ahead and pivot during this COVID-19 season.
Yeah, that's great. And Jamie, how has it adjusted your strategies and approach, of working virtually with these families?
Well, I'm actually really grateful because we still have inquiries and applications coming. When this all hit, you're like, oh man, what is this about to look like? Right. But like Travis said, we really, for me, the top of mind has been retention. But from an admission standpoint, what Brook Hill I feel like is really great. Obviously, our campus. We're like, oh my gosh, people still got to be able to see our campus because it's phenomenal and it's part of the vision, part of the mission, which I keep going back to. But I realized in putting together this virtual tour that the reason we have a phenomenal campus is because our founder wanted it to represent what was going on inside, which was the pursuit of excellence. And so for me, it's been able to really put together something that is still really personal, so it doesn't feel so disconnected. It can be very personal, and also that really tells the story. We do not want to just throw out. There's nothing against them, but in my mind, your virtual tour should not just be footage of a blank campus, that you're walking people through. From our perspective, we wanted to show people pictures of the classrooms with kids in them, and when we go through our virtual tour, we want it to feel like you're on campus with us touring. So we've been doing that. I actually did 2 of those on Friday, one lower school and one upper school. And they were phenomenal. They were a couple of the first one, these were with our new virtual tour. And I felt like we really gave them a tour of Brook Hill. So I think that has been the focus for us, is really just putting together things like the video on the website, like this, I will let you see campus, but I'm going to encourage you to take a tour with me. I don't want those to be the same thing. I want that personal connection to still be the part of this. We're a very relational school. So that's been top of mind.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll all be able to get back to campuses soon along the way. And Lisa's asking a question about if you use a third party for your financial assistance process, and is there any type of matrix for discounts or payment plans that you created? Not that you want to share all your strategies, but remind me, what are you guys using? Is FACTS, right?
Fast.
Oh,
well, it's FAST for boarding and FACTS for day. We actually FACTS we moved to because it integrates with our FACTS billing system and RunWeb really easily, but it does not work well for an international family. So we actually have to use two systems depending.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And then go ahead. Were you going to say something, Travis?
Yeah. I was just going to say we've been using FAST. So it's more like we tried to switch to FACTS completely this year, and we just weren't able to because there's not a place for international addresses, which is a feature that they're going to add, but they just haven't yet. And so I think once that happens, we'll move fully over to FACTS. But FAST has still been a great system for us as well. And I think ultimately we want to figure out what a family qualifies for, and then we want to work with them and work with their budget. So I would say that we don't necessarily have a full-on matrix, but we do, have a system in place where we work with families and try to make it work. So.
Exactly. And by the way, Courtney from FACTS is on the live stream today, and she's mentioning Courtney. Yep. Hi, Courtney. She's mentioning that they're in the process of upgrading and improving the inquiry CRM feature on FACTS. So that'd be a great improvement that schools will appreciate. So little shout out to Courtney and what you guys do at FACTS. So as we wrap up here, any additional advice that you guys want to share with anybody who's watching from your perspectives on admissions and marketing and any of the strategies we've talked about or haven't talked about? And don't all speak at once. It's going to be maybe we're advised out, we just put it all out there and there's nothing more to share. But any final words of wisdom?
I think for me, it feels weird to be in a place of words of wisdom, but I think if you want to know what we do and what we're really passionate about, it's a couple of things. I think for one, and I realize that I keep saying it on this call, but you have to really bleed your mission and vision, and that has to be through everything that you do. It's really about fit. Our financial aid strategy goes back to our mission of what our founder really hoped for when he, played this whole thing out, our vision for the school. And so that's one. And then two, I think, admissions is people business. And so I think for us, there's a lot of data. You've got to have the data. You've got to drive. You've got to be smart. You've got to do that. But then at the end of the day, it really needs to be personal, and it really needs to be designed with that customer service standpoint in mind. Excellent customer service.
Yeah, and I want to speak to just a lot of times I'll talk to people at other schools, and it seems like our team is kind of big, and sometimes some of the things under our umbrella, I actually didn't mention that we actually have enrollment and financial aid also on the advancement team. So it's kind of a big, a lot of departments under that big umbrella. But the reason I think it really works is because we are all on the same team and we're really working together. And I think that sometimes you can have that tension between different departments, marketing and admissions, or, admissions and financial aid, if you're not all working together. And you had asked earlier at the beginning, how often do we meet? And when we're on campus, we just really have big meetings once a month, but we're always meeting, sub-departments. But since we've been doing COVID-19, we've actually been meeting twice a week on Zoom and having Zoom meetings. And just so that we can all, since we're not seeing each other face-to-face every day, so we can touch base. And one day we really talk about the logistics, and then one day we've been having devotionals where everybody's taking a turn, having a devotional and a prayer time for our school and for each other. And it's just been really important to continue building, that morale and that team spirit. So, it's a big team, but when you're all working together, it really, makes a big difference.
Yeah, it really does. Go ahead, Travis.
Yeah, I would just add that, you know, at the end of the day, even no matter what your team size is, there's always going to be more to do than what you actually can accomplish, right? And so even with our team, I feel it's like the bigger, I've been here when it was small, and now I'm here when it's bigger. And as it's grown, the ideas grow and the ability to accomplish things grow. But you still have to filter through ideas. And not every idea is a great idea, and not every idea is the best idea. And so I think no matter where you're at with your team, you have to figure out what are the best ideas, what are the best things that we can do at our school that's going to work the best with our team to help us be successful. And that comes down to teamwork, it comes down to strategy, and it comes down to figuring out what's best and taking the logical steps to make that happen.
Exactly. And that's such great advice. And so I so appreciate Jamie and Travis and Laurie for joining us today, and looking forward to the show on Wednesday at 3 o'clock Eastern time with a similar type of format with the team from Ben Lippen. So you'll be able to hear from Tony and Kelly and Rebecca. And so they've had some great successes there from their school in Columbia, South Carolina. But thanks again, Jamie and Travis and Laurie, for sharing the Brook Hill story.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and we'll see everyone on Wednesday. So have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you in a couple days.
All right.
Bye.